You guys must have come across a storm of news headlines about social media sites like Twitter, WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook getting banned in India. It has been and still is a hot topic of discussion whether the government will ban these sites or not. However, have you wondered what is the reason behind such news headlines and speculations? Welcome back everyone, and this is Siddhi, and we're back with another video, and today we'll talk about the ongoing tussle between these social media sites and the Indian government. Let's have a quick look at the background of the issue. In February 2021, the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology and the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting notified the Information Technology Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code Rules 2021. This gave rise to numerous speculations and caused apprehensions among the social media intermediaries and their users. Social media intermediaries were given a period of 3 months to comply with these rules. Before the introduction of these rules, 2011 IT rules require intermediaries to publish rules and regulations, privacy policies, and user agreements which would enjoin each user not to post information which would go against any law in force, and required intermediaries to disable access or remove information which is unlawful upon receiving actual knowledge of the same. However, the Supreme Court in Shreya Singhal vs. Union of India case read down the requirement of actual knowledge of an intermediary to mean knowledge of a court order directing it to disable access or remove such information. Before moving on to the discussion, let us understand the meaning of the term intermediary. Intermediaries are entities that store or transmit data on behalf of other persons and include internet or telecom service providers, online marketplaces, and social media platforms. According to the new rules, there are 2 categories of social media intermediaries. A social media intermediary means an intermediary which primarily or solely enables online interaction between 2 or more users and allows them to create and upload, share, disseminate, modify, or access information using its services. Whereas a significant social media intermediary is a social media intermediary with registered users in India above a certain threshold. The rules are stricter for the latter. Now let's understand the impact of these rules. The social media intermediaries are now required to inform users about the rules and regulations, privacy policies, and terms and conditions for usage of its services, blocking access to unlawful information within 36 hours upon an order from the court or the government, and report cybersecurity incidents. They're also required to enable the identification of the first originator of the information on its platform. The rules are stricter for significant social media intermediaries, as they're also required to appoint a chief compliance officer to ensure compliance with the IT Act, and the rules and a grievance officer residing in India and publishing a monthly compliance report. Under Rule 7 of the 2021 rules, if an intermediary fails to observe any of the rules laid down, it loses safe harbor protection afforded to it by Section 79 of the Information Technology Act and become liable if a third-party user posts unlawful content on their platforms. If publication of such information amounts to an offense, the intermediaries hosting such information would also be punishable under the relevant law in the absence of this protection. Now let's closely look at the tussle between WhatsApp and the central government. The messaging application WhatsApp has recently challenged the constitutionality of the new IT rules in the Delhi High Court, contesting mainly Rule 4(2) of the IT rules 2021, as this traceability clause would break the end-to-end encryption and violate the privacy of users. It relies on the Supreme Court's judgment in the case of Justice K.S. Puttaswamy vs. Union of India. A spokesperson from WhatsApp stated that requiring messages apps to trace chats is the equivalent of asking us to keep a fingerprint of every single message sent on WhatsApp, which would break end-to-end encryptions and fundamentally undermines the people's right to privacy. In its blog post, WhatsApp stated that breaking end-to-end encryption would weaken user privacy on the app and stifle free speech and freedom of expression. It said innocent people could get caught up in investigations or even go to jail for sharing content that later becomes problematic in the eyes of a government. If you simply downloaded an image and shared it, took a screenshot and resent it, or sent an article on WhatsApp that someone emailed you, you would be determined to be the originator of that content. As a response to WhatsApp's plea, the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology of India, while calling WhatsApp's challenge as a clear act of defiance, clarified in a press release, and it clarified that as per the intermediary guidelines, the originator of information can only be traced in a scenario where other remedies have proven to be ineffective, making the same a last resort measure. Moreover, such information can only be sought as per a process sanctioned by the law, thereby incorporating sufficient legal safeguards. Let's take a quick look at the recent updates. Surprisingly, WhatsApp's parent company, Facebook, has said, pursuant to the IT rules, we are working to implement operational processes and improve efficiencies. Facebook remains committed to people's ability to freely and safely express themselves on our platform. Twitter had also issued a statement which said, we plan to advocate for changes to elements of these regulations that inhibit free, open public conversation. We will continue our constructive dialogue with the Indian government and believe it is critical to adopt a collaborative approach. The Delhi High Court recently granted Twitter 3 weeks' time to state on record that it has appointed a resident grievance officer and observed that it has to comply with the IT Rules 2021. It is important to note that the central government and Twitter have been involved in another issue pertaining to Twitter's decision to label a tweet made by a Bharatiya Janata Party spokesperson as manipulated media. Owing to this, a police raid took place in the Twitter's Delhi and Gurgaon office. Now comes the question, will these social media sites get banned? According to several experts, it is highly unlikely that these apps will get banned, but will lose the protection given to them under the IT Act and become liable for their actions. Moreover, there will be no changes in the functioning of these social media sites as far as their interaction with the users is concerned. However, there is no denying in the fact that these new rules do point towards an extreme sense surveillance by the government at a time when it is already being criticized for its Orwellian policies. Thank you, that's all for now. Please let us know what you think about the new IT rules in the comment sections below. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe and hit the bell icon to receive the notification of For Women's in India's latest videos. If you like our work, please do consider contributing on our Patreon page. The link is in the description box.
Like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit the bell icon to never miss an update.